What's going on, everybody? Cody Pasby with you for another edition of the Mojobreak Hobby Stars of the Week. 5 players to keep an eye on in the sports world who are making headlines, who are red hot right now, that we think you should be keeping an eye on in the trading card world. Let's do it. All right, first up is Shohei Ohtani. Yeah. We talked about him on the hype if you watched our episode earlier this week. Everyone's talking about Shohei, and you know what? We're going to keep talking about Shohei until there's no reason to talk about Shohei, because he is the most exciting player in all of baseball right now. People outside of the baseball world are talking about Shohei Ohtani. Kevin Durant's talking about Shohei Ohtani. J.J. Watt's talking about Shohei Ohtani. Everybody is talking about Shohei. Yeah, he didn't have the best start this week. I think he went, 5 innings? He had 5 strikeouts in those 5 innings, and he did hit in that game, but he's still leading the league in home runs. If he was a qualified starting pitcher right now, his 13.4 strikeouts per 9 would be 4th in all of baseball and 2nd in the American League. He's the first guy in Major League history with a 10 strikeout game in the same season that he hit at least 10 home runs. This guy is the real deal right now. There really isn't a comparable at this moment. The only guys I can think of are 2 sport athletes, guys like Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders. Shohei is really the closest thing we've had to that. Yeah, he's playing the same sport, but doing 2 different disciplines right now, pitching and hitting at the top level. I would say right now, Shohei Ohtani has gone from a curiosity to begin the season, if you're in the hobby, to I would rank him at least the 4th, maybe 5th most desirable player to collect right now. Probably Fernando Tatis, Acuna, Juan Soto, and of course Mike Trout ahead of him. But if he keeps this up, I think there's a case to be made that Shohei Ohtani is just behind Mike Trout as the most desirable player to collect in all of baseball. He is a unicorn. He is a one-of-a-kind guy. If he keeps this up, he might be the MVP. Also depends on what the Angels actually do. And, of course, now Mike Trout's hurt for a long time. Angels are not a well-run franchise is what I'm trying to say. But Shohei Ohtani is really fun. He is among the most coveted guys in the hobby right now, as he should be. And if he keeps it up, he's going to be maybe the star of the hobby for baseball fans. All right, number 2, let's talk NBA. And the NBA playoffs have arrived. There's been play-in games. There's been dramatics. There's been poking eyes, maybe phantom eye pokes. I don't know. It's Hollywood. It's all about acting, baby. But let's go to the East Coast and focus on New York basketball. And I'm not talking about the Brooklyn Nets, because unless you're originally from New Jersey or you're the mayor of New York City and you're not seeking re-election, you're not actually a Brooklyn Nets fan if you're from the city of New York. You are a New York Knicks fan, and oh my God, the Knicks are back in the playoffs. Cody's happy. I should know I am Cody, and yeah, he's happy right now, as everyone's been telling me. Yeah, great, Knicks are in the playoffs. Cool. Let's talk about RJ Barrett. The 3rd pick from the 2019 NBA draft may be the last man standing from that draft, depending on what happens to the Memphis Grizzlies and Ja Morant. We're recording this before their play-in game against the Golden State Warriors for that number 8 seed. It's been all Zion and Ja and Zion, and RJ Barrett kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit because, well, the Knicks did things the Knicks usually do. But then in 2021, the Knicks did things they don't usually do, like being the 4th seed in the playoffs. Julius Randle is really the biggest reason for that. Tom Thibodeau, the other huge reason, coming in and changing the culture. Emmanuel Quickley has been a great rookie for them. But RJ Barrett has been a great player for them down the stretch and has had a fantastic sophomore season, improving upon his game in almost every single way. He averaged 17.6 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, and 3 assists per game in his age 20 season, all improvements upon his rookie season. The only players to do that before their 21st birthday, by the way, Zion Williamson, Magic Johnson, Luka Doncic, and LeBron James. Barrett was already making improvements in the first half of the season, averaging over 16 points per game, but it was in the second half that RJ Barrett really saw a lot of improvement, especially from beyond the arc. He shot nearly 10% better from three-point land. Look, if the New York Knicks can go on a run here, it's going to be one of the biggest stories in the NBA. They have one of the most exciting series in the first round, honestly, against the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young, an exciting young team there. The Knicks, obviously, an exciting young core as well. I think it's the series series to watch here for NBA fans and for collectors as well, as there's a lot of great young talent to watch here. Obviously Trae Young, obviously Julius Randle, but RJ Barrett could be the guy to watch and the breakout star, a guy I think a lot of people are sleeping on. I think collectors are starting to figure out that RJ Barrett is the real deal. Now the rest of the NBA world and the sports world will catch up. Back to baseball for our number 3 pick. It's Julio Rodriguez. Yeah, I know. Jarred Kelenic is getting all the headlines right now. He's here in the major leagues for the Seattle Mariners. He had that 3-hit game that included a home run last week against the Cleveland Indians. But I want to talk about the guy that, based off of the scouts' consensus, he is the pick to click for these top prospects for the Seattle Mariners. Obviously Kelenic too, but Julio Rodriguez was the more highly touted prospect coming out of the Mariners system. He's still about a year away, but minor league baseball is back, and with that comes weird giveaways and weird names like the Everett Aqua Sox. Could anyone tell me where Everett is on a map? No. Can anyone tell me what an Aqua Sox is? No. That's what I thought. Who knows what this is? This is all made up. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, a Seahawk isn't real either, but an Aqua Sock? Like, are we talking like the mascot is like water shoes or something? What's going on here? Anyway, Julio Rodriguez is doing really well for the Aqua Sox right now. Just take a look at these stats. He leads the entire league in home runs with 5 right now. This guy is going to be, if all comes into place, the middle of the order bat that the Mariners have been seeking to complete their rebuild. And if he, alongside Jarred Kelenic, can fulfill their potential, the Seattle Mariners could actually be a powerhouse in the AL West. I had to pause there for a second. It's weird to say anything good about the Mariners as of the last, 20 some odd years. But there's a real chance here that the Mariners will have the best outfield in all of baseball by the beginning of 2022. Julio Rodriguez is off to an incredible start. If you've got some of those Julio Rodriguez cards from one of your first Bowman collections, or you're looking to invest, now is a good time to do it. He is on the rise. I think this guy could be up sooner rather than later, maybe even a September call-up. He's going to be on the fast track to the major leagues and could be in that outfield alongside Jarred Kelenic and the Rookie of the Year from last year, Kyle Lewis. Could be really fun up in the Pacific Northwest very, very soon. All right, our 4th guy we're highlighting is Nathan MacKinnon, hockey star for the Colorado Avalanche. The Avs are the best team in hockey. Yeah, they tied the Vegas Knights and won the President's Trophy by way of the tiebreaker. But if you're just looking up and down that roster, there are very few in the National Hockey League that are as stacked. And Nathan MacKinnon is right at the top of the list of the most talented guys. Colorado Avalanche haven't had a ton of playoff success as of late. In fact, they haven't really had any for about almost 20 years now. It's weird to think, because when I first started watching hockey, the Avalanche were like one of the premier franchises in all of hockey, winning that Stanley Cup in the early 2000s. Ton of great talent, Peter Forsberg, Joe Sakic, but they haven't been that team for a long time and haven't even been to the conference final since 2002. But that could change with this Colorado Avalanche team, and the way that Nathan MacKinnon is playing right now, he's going to try and make that change real fast. In the first 2 games against the St. Louis Blues, he's got 7 points. 2 goals and an assist in game 1, and if you didn't think that wasn't enough, he had a hat trick and an assist in game 2. This team is so stacked. You've got Gabriel Landeskog, Mikko Rantanen, young Cale Makar, and of course, between the pipes, Philip Grubauer, who is one of the best goaltenders in all of hockey. He got hurt last year, which really put a snag in the Avalanche's Stanley Cup chances. If he can stay healthy and Nathan MacKinnon leading the way, the Avs should be the favorites to win it all. And if that does happen, Nathan MacKinnon cards going way up. The guy is the face of the franchise. He looks like it right now. He looks the part. He's been fantastic. He's been fantastic for a few years now. This guy, I know we talked Connor McDavid last week as the best in all of hockey. If there is a number 2, this guy has a really good argument for it. And if he can hold the cup by the end of June, I don't really think there's much of an argument who the second best in hockey is. Let's wrap things up by focusing on Boston Celtics superstar Jayson Tatum, who I would just like to remind everyone He's in his age 22 season right now. He's only a year separated from having his first adult beverage, legally at least, and he's already got some iconic moments for the Boston Celtics, and at the top of that list is his 50-point performance against the Washington Wizards to clinch the number 7 seed in that first play-in tournament game. He's an incredible young talent, and he's been on such a tear as of late, despite the fact that the Boston Celtics kind of backed their way into the playoffs. Over his last 9 regular season games, Tatum averaged 31.2 points per game. He had his highest points per game total of his young career so far in 2020 and 2021. And oh yeah, he had a 60-point performance against the San Antonio Spurs back at the end of April. Prior to the 2020 season suspension last year, Jayson Tatum was becoming one of the most exciting players in all of basketball. He was on an incredible tear. Then he kind of continued it in the bubble, and now we're kind of seeing the same trend happening now. End of the season, he really ramped things up. He has a huge game against the Wizards, and now he's going to face a tough test with the Brooklyn Nets. Are Tatum and the Celtics going to top the Brooklyn Nets? Probably not, but let's try and stay a little bit optimistic here. The Brooklyn Nets, with their dynamic trio of Kyrie, James Harden, and KD, that trio hasn't been on the court together a whole hell of a lot. We saw with some dynamic trios of the past, the Miami Heat, it could take a little bit for everything to gel together. I'm not saying that it won't. I am totally believing it will. But let's just say that Jayson Tatum and the Celtics catch them a little off guard. Tatum has a huge series, and they move on and beat the Nets. We already saw a huge jump in a lot of his card prices on eBay after that 50-point performance. Imagine what will happen if they can top the Nets, the team that was supposed to run away with the East after trading for James Harden. That will be an incredible thing to watch if it does happen. Do I think the Nets are actually going to lose? No, I don't. I'm sorry to burst your bubble there. But Jayson Tatum could have a huge series and build a lot of momentum to next season. The Celtics are probably a better team than what we saw here at the end of the season. And if you're just thinking of card value, Tatum's playing in Boston. That's a market you want to be in. He's extremely talented. He's under 25 years old. There's a ton of things to like here. There's a ton of momentum. I think he's still going to have a great series against the Nets. He's going to give it his all. And I think this is a guy to keep an eye on for a long, long time to come. Could be a guy who is pretty easily in that top 10 conversation, maybe even top 5 in the next couple of years in the NBA. That will do it for this week. And no, I'm not going to talk about Tim Tebow tight end cards for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're not going to make me do it. I'm not going to buy those cards. Yeah, I did it. I bought the Broncos cards about 10 years ago. I bought the Mets first moments 5 years ago. I did it, okay? You can't make me do this again. Probably going to buy some. Probably going to buy a tight end card. It's going to be, people are going to buy it. People are going to want a Tim Tebow tight end card. I can't help it. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to Mojobreak Media for more content going forward. Of course, make sure to watch The Hype every Wednesday, 3:30 on Mojobreak, and then you can watch the edited version here on Mojobreak Media. We'll see you guys. Peace.